Weather portion of Ag Week now, and some interesting things going on weather-wise. For one thing, as we start out with the U.S. Drought Monitor, drought regions across the nation continue to shrink. Of course, the northern plains not that dry. Even down here in the southern plains, we're starting to get into the peak of thunderstorm season. So while it's still a bit dry in parts of Oklahoma, North Texas, and southern parts of southern Kansas, and numerous grass fires are growing. Actually, the drought condition overall here is better than it's been. Southern California continues to be in excellent shape relative to any time over the last 3 years, and over the Middle West there really are not any significant areas of drought. That's not to say there isn't some dry ground. Short-term dry weather, yes, we certainly have that ongoing, but it's fairly early in April, and the heavier rains of spring usually don't get going until a little bit. The second half of the spring is usually a bit wetter. Talked about this before in the last few weeks. I wanted to bring it up again. It's becoming increasingly apparent that a new El Nino is likely developing in the Pacific Ocean. What effects that would have on our weather? Very much unclear. It's almost like in spring there's a big wall, and we're just not usually, that's probably our worst time of the year is spring for predicting weather long range. Summer forecasts are very tough in the spring. Certainly next winter's forecasts are very tough in the spring, but the El Nino does lend itself to the possibility of yet another winter next winter with milder than average temperatures in the northern plains and possibly wetter conditions in the central part of the Midwest. But that's not a forecast, that's a piece of speculation. Primary jet stream this week is going to set up more in a west to east pattern, and that'll keep the stormy action a little closer to the north. There will be some big storms, thunderstorms in the mid-south, and it looks like a chance for some rain, maybe some wet snow in the northern plains through the early part of the week. Not clear how heavy this will be. It may end up being sprinkles and flurries, may end up being something measurable. That's a little hard to foresee, but it does look like there'll be kind of some damp, wet weather anyway. And later in the week, I think a second chance coming out of the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains. As far as we look at the second week, as we go to April 23rd through 29th, that rain will likely move south, looking for a ridge of high pressure to begin building up, which will send the stormy weather east, probably dry out the upper Midwest and the northern plains a bit. Temperature-wise, we're going to stay relatively cool, especially in the northern part of the northern plains. Cool to mild, nothing really unusually cool, but maybe a little bit cooler than it's been. The warm weather will continue down, of course, across the southern United States, and I look for it to probably linger like this on into the second week as well. Generally cool, although as the jet stream begins to buckle, the warm weather will start building up in the western states. That is looking apparent. So April variety continues. It's a tough time of year to the forecast. Little rain and snow for the northern plains. Don't see any big warm-ups for a while.